scroll back to the top, and I want you to click on the plus sign next to main. This will start a new file. We will call this new file nested-if.java. Don't forget .java. Otherwise, it will not register it as a Java class. Notice that I uppercase the N for nested and I for if. I uppercase both of those letters. That is very important when you're creating a class. The class name and the file name must match, as we have learned in last 2 months, right? Okay, or month and a half. Okay, now, public class nested if. Public class nested if. Now, make it your habit whenever you're creating a brand new class, always put the opening and closing curly braces. Public static void main, opening and closing curly braces. So this is the basic structure of the code that you must always have. You're usually provided with that when you go to the main, but other than main, you would have to write it yourself or copy paste it however you want to do it.
Yeah, why don't you me?
Okay, is everybody done with this?
No.
Okay, because I hear so many people talking, so I thought everybody is done.
I'm done.
Okay, now what we will be doing is we will be testing the code for a nested if condition. That means nested if means there is an outer check and there is an inner check. So what we have done before is we did something like this yesterday. Like 2 days ago. If, or let me first do integer score equals to 90. Okay. If score is greater than equals to 90 and score is less than equals to 100, we did this code. If you guys remember this, right? This is what we did already. So I want you to code this again. This is what we did Monday, where we checked to see if score is within the range of 90 through 100. Instead of A, we're going to call this time pass. So in order to pass, you have to have between 90 and 100. Otherwise, the person has failed. So this is the criteria. So we are writing a slightly different code today. So this is the criteria that if person has scored between 90 and 100, then they've passed. Otherwise, they've failed. In high school, you do not have those kind of classes, but in colleges, we do have pass-fail courses that we don't give them letter grades. If they achieve the minimum percentage in that course, that's the only way to pass the course. So those are called the pass-fail courses. Sometimes the passing percentage is 80, sometimes passing percentage is 85, sometimes passing percentage is 75, depending on the department as to what they have declared to be the passing percentage. So these kind of classes are called pass-fail courses, and on the transcript, it either says P or F. So it's not something that I'm doing out of ordinary here. Right now, this program is only checking to see if a person has passed or failed the course. So I want you to go ahead and run this program the way it is right now before I start making changes to it.
It's a pass.
It will say pass because the score is 90. If you put a score of a value other than 90, less than 90, let's say 80, then it will say failed. Or pass or failed. Okay, those are the two criteria based on the value of the score. Is everybody done with this pass failed course code? Is everybody, guys, is everybody done?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, now, if you enter 180, what do you get?
It failed.
Failed, right? That means we need to put a proper checking here that we want only the grades, only scores 0 through 100 to be checked. That's the criteria that we're putting in. Only those scores should be checked that are between 0 through 100. So we would have to put this inside another condition, which will make sure that before I start checking, my score is within that range. So what I'll do is select all of this code, if through else, select it. And on your keyboard, press the tab key. So it will shift over a little bit, right? Okay. Now, right above this criteria, put another if condition like this. If. If. Okay. Now, under this if, put a curly brace. I'm going very slow so that you guys are not making any mistakes. So pay attention. So I put an if condition and an opening curly brace. Does that mean I need to close that curly brace too? Yes. So I will go right past the closing of the else and put the closing curly brace there. And I want you to make sure you have all the matching curly braces here, because that's where people make the most number of mistakes. This curly brace on line 17, I added it. So please do not assume that it was added. You should have two more curly braces below that. One to close the main and one to close the class. Do not delete those. Just because you can't see that, it doesn't mean they are not there. Okay. Now let me clear the annotations. Now I'm going back to line number 7 now. And on line number 7, I'm going to put my condition. As long as score is greater than equals to 0, and as long as score is less than or equals to 100, I want this code to run. That's my conditional check. That's my outer if condition. So this is my outer if condition. This is my inner if condition. So I have an outer if condition, I have an inner if condition. So I have two conditions. The inner if condition will not be checked if outer if condition fails. Is everybody done writing this? Okay. Change your score to 180 again, if you had changed it back to 80, And I want you to run it again. Do you see any output? So change the score back to 180 and run it. Do you see any output?
No output.
No output. Okay. Why is there no output?
The score goes above 100.
Exactly.
I told you.
Because line number 7 prevented that, and line number 9 never ran. Now I want you to scroll down. You have 3 curly braces closing at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So between the second last and the third last, we will put an else. And this is where we will put invalid input. Oops. Okay. So before closing the main, we wrote an else, which will say invalid input. And now go ahead and run your program. And you should now see an output of invalid input.